Well, good morning, everyone, or good evening over in Europe. Here we go again, leg 3. Going to be very exciting, this one. So I think the numbers will grow. So before I get into this, and I know there's no one there at the moment, but people will probably pop up shortly, and I'll do it at the end as well. We've got about, I think we were up to about 18,000 people on our Facebook page following the OGR, but I reckon, by my estimates, it's actually somewhere between 30 and 40,000. Because when I look at the emotions and see whether they're actually liked or part of the system, most people aren't. It's really quite surprising. It's running less than 50%. Usually, it's about 30 to 40%. So I keep inviting people, and most people have actually been invited, but they never actually press the button and like OGR. So if you're watching this, you can do us a favor just by saying, yep, okay, I'm on. I like seeing this. Just hit like OGR or just sign up for OGR. Same on the YouTube channel. We've got about over 4,000 subscribers, but crikey's in the Golden Globe, we have like 21,000 subscribers on YouTube. People haven't populated that spot yet, but we're going to try and work on that, build that. Because what's YouTube about? Basically, all of the lives that go on to Facebook, they disappear. Once it goes down the screen, you've lost it forever. But all of the lives that we do, whether it's on the water or here, doing the tracker updates and everything, they all go on historically onto YouTube. So if you ever want to go back and say, oh, what were they doing in the middle of leg 2, when that happened, you can go back and pick the date, and you'll actually be able to see that whole session, that live session, whether it's Q&A or whatever it is. So everything is kept historically on the on YouTube. Now, very soon, we've actually got the Bayonet platform up. We've spoken about this before. It's up there, and we've been really busy now. It's there. We will actually start to feature that a little bit going forward now. It's a platform that's got everything, every bit of social media, every bit of media that we've produced is actually on the one screen. Now, you can imagine that's a lot of information, and it takes a bit to learn to drive it and make the most of it. But once you've got the hang of it, it's going to be a real interesting resource. It's the one-stop shop for the ocean globe. You'll be able to go there and, it's all in front of you. You can go to videos, you can go to SoundCloud, you can go to, all Brian's posts. You can go to the track. You can call up historic weather going back to leg 1 or leg 2. You can go to any incidents that took place, just hit it on the track, you can blow it up. It's all there. Just go boom, open it up, close it down. And this is massive console. It's really quite sophisticated, and it is on the website now, but we're not pushing it yet because I've got to learn to drive it. But anyway, because I've got to do a tutorial to show people how it all comes together. Anyway, but we will be doing that, and it is going to be quite fascinating. It's the first time, to the best of my knowledge, that any event anywhere in the world has actually tried to do this. And we're lucky to have Bayonet on board. It's a bit of a story behind. I won't dwell on it now, but it's for those that are computer geeks or those that want to sit and have an entertainment console with everything in front of you and just go boom, boom and call up anything without having to go to YouTube or go to social media or whatever. It's all going to be there. So stand by for that, and I'll show you how to use it and so on. What do we got with the start day? It was really amazing. We had a drone up, we had drones up and stuff, and we've recorded it, and we'll shortly, Jane's working on it today, as well as clearing out of the office and container and getting ready to move and all that sort of stuff. We're all very busy right now. We will do a 90-second clip from the drone coming into the start line, because it was really fascinating to see what happened. First of all, no one broke the line. I was convinced someone did, because what my mistake was, I didn't actually sync my watch to the actual start call, because we missed the call on the radio. We were busy doing the live report and so on. It was incredibly exciting. And generally what happened, I'll give you a heads up so you can watch the video. We had Phaser Finland translated, one other boat. There was 4 boats that were charging the line, and they were early. They were too early. So translated and Spirit of Helsinki, and there was one other, I forget which one it was. They just bore away and started heading for the breakwater, right, running down the line. Right in front of us, L'Esprit de Keep came up, and it was just set to hit the pin end of the line, and they realised they were early. It was too late to bear away, so they headed up and went outside the buoy. They just missed the buoy, came around. They did a big crash jibe, they'd broken their mainsail somehow, I'm not sure what that means. This is on a tweet this morning. They probably broke the battens in the main. I'm not sure whether they broke any cars, but they reported this morning that yes, they've damaged the main, but they're not going back. They're going to continue. And so then you had a situation where those first four that were there early, all bearing away. You then had Triana, obviously with a good bowman and helmsman and getting the time right, timing it perfectly, and they just split straight through the middle of everyone else that separated. So Triana was first across the line, and then just to leeward of them was Galliana, and just behind Triana was Outlaw. So across the line, it was Triana, Galliana, Outlaw, and then by the time the others recovered, of course, they're quite a bit behind, but very quickly you could see going up the harbour, Spirit of Helsinki was way up the front, and then some of the others taking it a little bit more conservative down the back. They all eventually found their rightful place in the harbour before they went through the gate, and then they had some challenges getting around the island, which we'll talk about in a minute. So it was a very exciting start. So that's pretty cool. So for now, Georgie's already headed back. Georgie left yesterday. She's headed back to the UK, and she'll meet up with us in Punta next week. Ada, as you know, is not with us anymore, which is really kind of sad. We missed her out there on the water yesterday, but she's quite happy doing her own thing. Jack, Jane, and I will be leaving the end of this week for Punta, and Marco's heading back to Les Sables d'Olonne. He's now got a couple of months off, about 2 months off, and then he'll rejoin us in March. Not too much, mid-March. He comes back on board, helps us up the other end once we arrive. And as I mentioned before, Lutz's contract runs out the end of this month. That's all targeted and it's planned because things wind down now. It's funny for us psychologically. We're all saying the team, it's as if the race is nearly finished, mainly because we had 3 years of lead up before the start of the race, which is, massive. Then to get the race underway was really incredible. Lutz was doing all the systems and Georgie was doing all the bits and pieces, and Ada and I were doing, it was just crazy. So it was a huge effort to get away from the UK. And then the Cape Town stopover was a very hard stopover for us because the boats were so late, it compressed all our activities and there was a lot of pressure and I won't say stress, but we had to get things happening, and we did. Here, it was a lot more relaxed. We've got great support here. We had the time to do things, and everyone had a ball. The entrance really enjoyed all the parties and events that we had, and had time for holidays. Some of them had massive holidays. We were very envious down the South Island, all the rest of it. We were very welcomed by the city here, and the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, and the marina was great. People everywhere. It really was a lot of fun. And then to do that start you couldn't have asked for anything better. This was exactly what these boats are designed for. Powerful windward work or close reaching. They're full displacement hulls. They're just powerful boats. They might not be downwind flyers, but it was really good to see. I saw one comment. Someone said they were sailing with purpose, and it really was. We were up close, and it was fantastic. So we got a bit hammered with the water again when one part of there was about a 2-knot current running down the center of the harbour, and the wind was against that. So you had these little sort of, little waves splashing the spray. So we damaged a bit of gear again, but we managed to keep it all going. It was a lot of fun. And Joey was a cool dude. He, with Red Vet, great stories, some of them off camera. But anyway, it was quite a lot of fun. So we really enjoyed the start. And when you read the tweets that the entrants are currently putting out this morning, they had a ball. They just loved it. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't have been better. Sad to go, but excited to be heading towards Cape Horn and heading down south. So all in all, it's been quite a hell of a stopover. So yes, it's as if we are heading home, and it's as if it's nearly all over. Punta is going to be, I think we're all excited that it's a great club. I've spent quite a bit of time there. People are really welcoming. It's sort of really hard to describe. Central American, Spanish, Uruguayan culture. It's all a bit different and a bit of fun. And that is right in the peak of their summer period. Creates a bit of extra work for the club, but they're very hospitable hosts. They're putting on all the parties, everything for us. And it's a great club. You'll see when we're there. But it is the middle of summer, so the population increases in size by, I think, 4 times. There's 400% more people there. It goes up from a couple of 100,000 up to nearly 700,000 in just over summer. So going to be a bit of hype and a lot of fun. So how quick will they get there? That's the next question. The start is on March the 5th. Okay, it's on a Tuesday. And the slowest boats, the smaller boats, I asked Sterner what they thought, and they were thinking 42 days, which gives them about a week or so in port. Now, Explorer, another slow one, they'll be away hopefully tomorrow or tonight, and they'll be in a similar situation. So they could get, around about a week, so 8 days or something like that. It just all depends. But the others could get 2 to 3 weeks. So we'll see how it goes. But it's pretty simple. It's safety inspections, parties, and then you can't get a lot of work done on the boats in Punta. They don't have a huge yachting infrastructure there. So most boats will be pretty much on their own. If you want to slip the boat, there is a travel lift there. It's 20 miles down the track. And it was actually donated by the Volvo race. When the Volvo race went there, they needed a travel lift and so on to get their boats out many years ago, and they gave the travel lift to this little port so they could do that, and it's still there, and it's been very handy. But anyway, we'll see how the boats get around and Cape Horn and what condition they're in. So our workload decreases once we get there. You just get them underway, and coming up the Atlantic, we're fully expecting an exciting last leg of the race. This one's demanding. We're not on alert, but we're certainly monitoring all our phones now. In the next week or so, they'll be headed way south in the Southern Ocean again, and we fully expect to be, we expected big storms in the second leg, and it didn't happen. What are we going to get on this leg? We have no idea, but we'll be monitoring everything very closely. Anyway, enough of that from me. Let's get into the tracker. It's pretty simple this morning. Not a lot going on because they've only been out there for a day. Hang on a sec. There we go. You got me on the screen. I'm actually on a new computer, so I'm going to be going a little bit slower here because it's got a completely different keyboard. So I'm worried about pressing the wrong buttons. Anyway, let's have a look at this here. So you can see they had to leave the harbour, get around the corner here, and now they're actually sailing. If I just make this a bit larger, you couldn't have asked for better weather. They had close reaching to get across outside the harbour, turn the corner. Now they've got it on the port quarter, and that's as good as it comes. So they're all making very good speed. And if we look at what the objective is to get around the hump here on the North Island of New Zealand, Rangiukia, something like that. And then just an overview of the course. If we come back here, jeepers, the colours on this screen are nothing like as good as my last computer. This is the general track. So most of them would be heading down south as quick as they can get down into the 50s here. This is 50 degrees south. We've got waypoints there. So generally they're heading across, and then they'll dip down just at the last minute towards Cape Horn and down and around the corner. Now, this is pretty typical as well. No, actually, I shouldn't. Yeah, it is pretty typical, I suppose. You've got a big high pressure system sitting here, and that's going to give them favourable winds for the next few days. So off to a kick start, which will keep everyone really happy. So just coming back now, we'll see what each of the boats are doing. The bad news here, before I'll get into the Explorer's situation, that 1 day stopover is going to cost them about 4 days because the weather's going to turn as soon as they leave, which is unfortunate, but that's yacht racing. So here we go. I've got to push this up. Boy, I've got to get into this computer. It's a little bit, what's going on here? Come on. Nope, it doesn't like that. So here we go. I'll try it one more time. Maybe the internet. Yeah, it is. Okay, so Penjuic stretching her legs, or his legs, out front, which is kind of nice to see. 9.1 knots, and it's showing, I'm not sure why everything's showing minus. I've got to check because it might be detracting from the overall distance, but I'll work that out later. So forget about the distance in minus or plus. Something might be going wrong there. We'll settle that in the next 24 hours, and everything will be looking a lot more interesting. So anyway, 9.1 knots, and they've done something like 150 miles since the restart yesterday, so making good time. And that's exactly what Penjuic has to do to stay ahead of the game. So they've all had pretty consistent weather. Spirit of Helsinki, 8.7 knots, 142 miles from the start. and happy to be there. As you know, they had an issue with their green card, but that was resolved, so they're underway, and we're happy to see them there. Interesting point there is that, as you know, back in the good old days in Leg 1, sadly, Penduic picked up a 72-hour time penalty. Now, Translated 9 down here has a 72-hour time penalty from applied to this leg. It won't be applied until the conclusion of Leg 3. So that sort of balances them out a bit for the rest of the course. So it gives an advantage to Spirit of Helsinki, who doesn't have a 72-hour time penalty. So this is for overall standings in the race overall. Now, just a reminder, we do have the combined leg results for both 1 and 2 put together for overall results, and that's front page of the website. You can just go there, the black box, and you can hit it there. Or you can, if you go on to live, you'll see I've just put this up here. You've got the results there, okay? And you've got Leg 1, Leg 2, and overall. So it's on the live page because we figure most people are going to look at results from the tracker. So anytime you want to see that, this overall is not live, and by that I mean it's not being updated every minute that we're in Leg 3. It only covers for Leg 1 and Leg 2. So that's where you'll get your results now. And the penalties have been applied for those that were accepted for Leg 1 and 2. But as I say, Translated is only applying for this Leg 3. So what's Translated up to? 9.2 knots, 138 mile days. It's all pretty obvious on the screen here. I'll try to build it up now one more. Yeah, we've got that, so that's okay. So you can see the relative distances there. They're still pretty close. Just to put it in perspective, Maiden is, come on, why did it do that? Okay, so we'll go here, boom, boom. Okay, so transom to transom for Maiden, the distance that you're looking at there is only 14 miles. So they're all still very close. You get used to big distances when you've been in the leg for a few weeks, but they're all pretty much bunched together and all sailing really well. So that's kind of pretty good. So right now, Maiden's doing 8.7 knots, 135 miles from the start. Neptune doing well, 8.9 knots and 131 miles from the start. Triana, 8.4 knots. They're hooting along again as usual. Driving hard. They would have been happy to know that they crossed the line first. 153 nautical mile days. So that's when we look over here, 153. Hang on. Yeah, they've got 149. That could be one of the biggest day runs of the lot. 142. Translate 138, and bingo. Maiden's 135. You go to Neptune, 131. What's Joanna got? 153. Now that could be correct. They are always on the hammer. Oh, here we go. White Shadow 151, suggesting to me that possibly there's a bit more breeze at the back that's giving these guys in the behind a little bit more pressure. 124 for Evrika doing 8.6 knots, and right alongside them is L'Esprit de Keep, 8.4, matching each other, 149. So they're on top of each other. It'll be interesting to see what happened to their main, but as I say, it's probably just broken battens. White Shadow 8.3, 151. These guys and girls are having a fantastic sail. 8.5 knots, 119 for Outlaw, and Galliano with Secure. They were lagging behind previously, but they're back on the game now. 8.3. They didn't do very well coming out of the harbour at all. They were lagging right behind. Sterner 6.8, 107 nautical miles. They're just settling in, so that's really all I can tell you there for now. And as I say, when we come back here, we'll run the weather forward and you'll see the ramifications for Explorer when it goes. Okay. The color definition and screen definition on this, the angle of viewing on screen on this computer is shocker. I can hardly see the difference there. So anyway, rightio. So we come back a bit smaller, making sure I press the right buttons, and I'll come back one more side. Then we'll push the weather forward. Okay, so this is coming through every few hours. You can see the wind is dying now. This is by 10:30 UTC, so pretty quickly, only in a matter of hours, the wind is going to get really soft. Okay, and then by the time we get in 24 hours out, which is around about here, it's very soft. Okay, and it looks like they may be stuck in that. I'll just put just put this on. the interesting point here, here's the 180 degrees east or west of Greenwich, right? So it's sort of like the dateline. The dateline moves either side of that as it goes through. Just so you know, no one's expected to make any phone calls into SoundCloud on their scheduled day until they get the other side of the dateline. And when they're over here, they'll be 179 west of Greenwich, if that makes sense. I think you all know about how that works. And once they're into west of Greenwich, then on their scheduled day they can make the call. That means we're not expecting any calls today, and only half the fleet, they start up the next day, because we've all got a lot on today. We've got a huge amount of work to do, so we didn't want any calls, and they don't have a lot to talk about yet anyway, because they're just settling in as well. So that might become a feature of the race in future. The first day or so after the starts, we won't allow any calls, and it'll start up at a set time after that. So, okay, so how far will they get? Hang on, we'll just take this back again. Okay, so in the next 24 hours, you'll see it's going to be 1930. It's going to be there. So there's 24 hours. They're going to be probably maybe 180 miles away. Okay, it's going to be a real race. They need to get down a bit here. They'll probably be just into this headwind. That's interesting. I didn't notice that. I haven't had a chance to pre-look at this yet. So maybe it's not as bad just for explorers, I thought. Okay, so this is about where they'll be when we're getting this kind of weather. All right. The tail enders might miss out, but it shouldn't last long. It shouldn't last long at all. So, oh boy, I might be wrong there. Okay, so what's causing that? It's a high pressure system forming off the coast of New Zealand here. So they're going to have it on the nose, a bit bouncy for a day. Going to be on the nose. That's going to slow them down. It's changed a lot from last night, but then it rolls over pretty quickly. So there's the 17th. So by the next day, okay, so they're going to have one day where it's not so interesting, and then it will quickly turn. They'll ride this down as soon as it goes across. So this is at the end of day 2. Okay, so on the second day, they're going to have a nice breeze, nice following breeze. There'll be spinnakers heading up, and they'll go straight south for sure. They will really hook this down, and they should be getting good weather reports. They should be getting, a good picture of what they've got. Plus, if anyone was worth their bacon, what they would have done is they would have got on windy here, or predict wind, and looked at the forecasting for the next 7 to 10 days. Between 7 and 10 days, it's getting a bit unreliable. But they would have seen this, and they could have used a computer to work out a computer routing program, and they could follow that routing program that they got off the computer, for the next 2 or 3 or 4 days. And if the weather forecasting they're getting on the radio matches the forecast that set up that routing program, they can literally follow that for the first week, and they wouldn't necessarily be disadvantaged. They're allowed to do that. You can do any weather routing you want before you actually leave. Once you get on your boat to go, that's it. You've got no more access to it. But you could have written it all down, taken photocopies of all the maps and this, that, and the other. And that's what I'd certainly be doing. So everyone else has surely done that, and so you may see the boats going in similar directions over the next sort of 4 or 5 days. For Explorer, if we come back, I'll just pick this up and see what they're going to get. I'm just interested more than anyone else. No one's probably interested, but what I was seeing before was not so happy, because if they're ready to go tomorrow morning, here we go. So it's 1900. So we got there's no wind, so they'll go out there and start drifting, and there's just nothing. So that's going to, and then when they do get the slightest breeze, it's coming here from the northeast. So when they finally get out, tack out of the harbour and come up here, they've got to tack all the way up here in light headwinds. So that'll be pushing them through for pretty much all the way. They're going to have headwinds. So as soon as they get to the corner, it's going over towards the east, so it's more headwinds. They may hold this and get down here and try and scoot around, because that would be another day away. But no, then it's just light, nothing. So I think they'll have a combination loss in relative time. That 1 day and a bit delay will probably, compared to the weather and the speed that these guys, the current fleet, is using to get around, they'll probably lose another 2 days or more, another 2.5 days. So what you'll probably see is about 5 or 6 days after the start, when the main fleet is down somewhere else. Explorer will be about 4 days behind. It'll be about probably 800 miles behind, 700 or 800 miles behind, which is a bit of a disaster, but that's yacht racing. And then their challenge is to get to Punta as quick as they can so they can get a break. So I think that's about, no use looking at the leaderboard. You can see where they are. It's all pretty straightforward. So I'll just come here and see if there is, press this button here, see if there is any questions. That was a bit of a waffle this morning. Come up here. Hi, Kaylee. The other thing I want you to do, this is the diehards, the ones that are sitting there still watching. I want you to tell me, just for people that are in Europe, I don't want to need New Zealand because we know what's going on in New Zealand. But if you're in Europe and you're watching this, you're getting this at 9 o'clock at night, okay? I'm really interested to know if you would prefer to have it at 9 o'clock in France, 9 o'clock at night in France, or whether you want 9 o'clock in the morning in France. So that'd be 8 o'clock in the evening in the UK, or 8 o'clock in the 8 o'clock in the evening in the UK. America's there. I know we've got a lot of American people following, but just for now, just for Europe and UK, would you rather prefer the tracker updates in the morning or in the evening? Be interested to know. So feel free to chuck a comment this way. And remember, if you missed the beginning, if you like OGR and you haven't liked the page, Facebook, please make sure you hit the like. And if you haven't subscribed to YouTube, remember, that's where you get all of this historic lives. They're all there in different sections, so you can go back anytime and watch them. So please subscribe or like the YouTube channel. It helps us show people what, the number of people we know are following. Okay, yeah, it was good to get the boats off. Thanks, Carly. Aid is definitely missed, but we shall, absolutely. It was strange being out there yesterday without it. But anyway, we all had a good time. We got the story out, which was great. So all good. Hi, Don, great to hear you. Thanks, Nigel. I see they will be brushing past. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. That was home. I've never been there, strangely enough. Evening from South Africa, day, Pete. Flying start, sure was. Couldn't have been better. It was absolutely fantastic. Appreciate all your work. Thanks. Organise all those wonderful events. Yeah, that's the Mini Globe Race, the Golden Globe Race, and the Ocean Globe Race. Oh, did you see the comment from Walier? I was super excited to see that. They call it, the Whitbread. This is the Whitbread, but it's called the Ocean Globe Race now. That was kind of cool. And Walier have been really promoting the race quite strongly. In fact, quite a few of the French sailing magazines have, which is really quite cool. So we still have a plan. Unfortunately, Ada's not with us, but we have a plan to get French coverage out at every opportunity. So stand by. Sorry, I don't speak French. Sorry, I speak too fast. But just a reminder for those watching this, you can actually go on the YouTube channel and in the settings, bring up subtitles, and they will be in English because that's what it's detecting. But then you can go to translate, and you can translate the English subtitles into French or Spanish or Italian or German. It might not be perfect translations, but it's good enough to know what we're talking about. So I'll try and remember to slow down on important issues. I'm hopeless, I agree. Thanks, JP. Good on you. Hello, Trish. Thanks for your help here. And Christine, we've got amazing volunteers. Christine's been in our container selling merchandise and shirts and talking to the people about the race every day. It's been fantastic. So it was a good setup. Hi, Simon. Lucky enough to get out on the harbour yesterday afternoon. It sure was spectacular. What was the penalty for Penjuic? There was a broken seal on the comms bag. All the crew have to get their personal communication devices and put them in a bag, and we seal them up just before the start. It's a frantic moment because everyone wants to use their phones right up until the last minute. And they never want to be first, but they've got to all go in a bag. We put a seal on it, and they can't use them again until they get to port. And sadly, Penjuic suffered with a broken seal, which was hard to determine why it was broken and how it was broken, but it was broken, and the penalty there was 72 hours. There is a full report on that. If you go back through the press releases on the website, you'll see the one referring to that, and there's a full report there. But it was a serious breach, and it was a 72-hour penalty. So, John, what was the penalty for Penjuic? Oh, yeah, that was it. Don, trying to navigate technology is definitely going to be one of my OGR highlights. Oh, that's me, yeah. This was funny. We didn't buy new computers in France because the French keyboards are completely different. They're upside down and back to front. So that I said, forget that, impossible. We come here and we just assume this is an English keyboard. We bought 2 computers. So I bought it. Actually, it's a bit too big. It's bigger than my other one, but it's got a big battery capacity. And now it's squashed up because it's got a bloody calculator, with the numbers on the side, and that changes everything. And I didn't need the calculator, but anyway, it was highly recommended online. So we bought a couple of those, and now I've got to do it. You should see my other one. It's completely smashed. Open, close, open, close, open, close so much. It's smashed. And now my shift key for capitals is locked. So sometimes a lot of my stuff goes out in the other computer in capitals because I cannot release it. I keep pressing. And so when you see my capitals on stuff, it's because it's locked. And sometimes it drops off, sometimes it doesn't. Pain in the ass. All of what the sale penalty is going to be applied for leg 3. Yeah, there's only one penalty, and that was translated. So on leg 3, because it was accrued for the preparation of leg 3. Thanks, Shauna. Yeah, it was a privilege to be out there for sure. Where's Ada's? Ada's moved on to other things now, so kind of that's cool with me, sir. Real racing start to leg was for sure. 9 at night, or getting people lobbying. Okay, thanks for that. Just for people in Europe, and I'll look at all the comments going through. Okay, Michael Gay. Nigel, evening, please. Evening in London. Don, don't mind which. Okay, morning. Oh, jeepers, big response. Thanks for everyone. The leaderboard looks strange with all the minuses. I'm not sure why. I just noticed it, and we'll find out and get that sorted. Oh, the other thing I said, we've been posting the wrong distance for this leg, official distance from the leg. I'm not sure how it worked out, but it says it was about 4,500 or just under 5,000. It's actually 6,300 or something. Hard to pick it exactly because they're going to go different distances, but the distances on the tracker is the one to consider in your head. The rounded market spot, did it matter if the left it to port or starboard? Oh, absolutely. Looks like I left it to starboard. No, that was Lionel on L'Esprit de Keep. The boy was there, and they're coming along thinking they're going to leave it to port. But if they did, they would have broken the start. So just at the last minute, they had to go, whoa, we don't leave it. We've got to get it. And they left it to starboard. So they're outside the start line. And they crashed jive and came around and blew some battens in the main and did a full circle and then came back out on the start. And the others did the same thing. When Translated came to the line, and Helsinki, they had to run down the line because they couldn't cross it because they would have got the penalty. And then Translated did a jive around. And I think Helsinki weren't quite at the end of the line, and they just rounded up and came across again and then tacked because they didn't lose as much ground as Translated. Anyway, you'll be able to watch the oops, I just lost the light again. You'll be able to watch watch all that from the drone footage that Jane's going to put up sometime today. So I think that's it. We've got it covered. And we will see you tomorrow, probably the same time tomorrow. Yeah, for sure. We may look at timings later on. Okay, thanks a lot. And we will. That's a long one because there's a lot to talk about, but we'll see you tomorrow.